Maybe you think what you make has nothing to do with your life. You have a strong drive to make dry, abstract, serious work. But maybe that's because you have an insatiable need for people to take you seriously.
I'm serious!
Maybe you want to make beautiful, tender films because your world is completely devoid of compassion and that's your only way of experiencing it.
Hey, somebody needs a hug.
In any case, your art is inextricably tangled with you. You can't separate your life experiences and your neuroses from your work, so why not try to harness them? Like a practical approach to the old adage, write what you know. Basically, how to distill your life experiences to make better art. So today we're going to explore diving into your memories to retrieve insight you can use in your creative practice. This is almost definitely already a technique. I'm not claiming to have invented this, but I couldn't find anything in the absolute minimal effort I put into checking this. So this is my experience with this approach and a practical blueprint of how you can use it. By the way, if you have any mental health issues, I would seriously recommend working through them with a licensed professional before you try this method, because this is going to potentially be a deep dive into the most difficult moments of your life, depending on how you decide to do it. Particularly if you have trauma, this could open up doors that you might not be able to close. Just a heads up, proceed with caution. And don't try to sue me.
As your attorney, I advise you to rent a very fast car with no top.
So what I'm suggesting is to explore your memories in search of moments that were significant in your life, with the goal of capturing the essence of those scenes to put into your work. These are the kinds of moments you'll never forget, or better yet, the ones you'd love to forget.
It's a painful memory.
If you can, find a quiet, comfortable place and close your eyes as if you're meditating.
Yeah, not a namaste guy.
Try to focus on that memory or that moment. Let's take the example of a rejection when you were young. Try to remember the details beyond your initial reaction. How do you feel? Are you ashamed, angry, embarrassed? What about your body? What are the sensations? Are you warm or cold? Do you remember sounds or smells? Try to put yourself physically and emotionally back in that exact situation.
Have to relive the experience now?
Now try to expand further on what you're feeling. Why did that moment hurt you specifically? Was it because it meant losing someone that meant a lot to you? Was it because it amplified existing insecurities you had about yourself? Was it because it was in public and people saw and heard it? Try to tease apart the specific aspects of the moment that made it so significant for you. You're trying to take a complex, emotional, physical experience and break it down into its core components.
You're entering a world of pain, son.
The reason I picked something that hurt you is that it's easier to practice with emotionally charged feelings because it's easy to identify the pain points when you cycle through different aspects of the situation.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
You'll notice if thinking about someone overhearing the rejection triggers a stronger response in you, that the public embarrassment of this situation is what hurt you most. This is a good place to start because you'll likely have a better grasp of what you are feeling and why. Because as you can tell, it's a very simple example, but you can use a similar approach for more complex scenes. Do you see how now if I'm working on a scene, I can use this information to try and create a scene that maximizes the emotional significance of that moment? I can redesign the scene to emphasize certain emotional cues. More importantly, you know it's not something you're regurgitating from something you've seen before, or something you've made up where people say, nobody acts like that in real life, or that shit would never happen. Bitch, it happened to me.
And this torpedo attack, this actually happened.
It's an authentic expression of your life experience. It's what all those actors mean when they're yapping about their truth. There's one truth, by the way. Anything else is just your experience of something. Your truth is not a thing.
This doesn't make any sense.
Stop saying that, it's fucking annoying.
This sounds kind of dumb.
By the way, I just find that using your own memories is the most practical, straightforward way to practice this. But you could, of course, also just come up with situations and tweak details to see how they make you feel. But I think you should take the same approach of trying to mentally embody the experience. Try to really imagine these feelings and emotions. This is significantly harder for things you didn't personally experience, which is why I would recommend starting with memories. But let's imagine an example anyway. This is how you could go about using this approach. Here's the story you come up with. Let's say you're out and about with your romantic partner and they seriously injure themselves.
My ankles are broken, for sure!
You try to help out, but you don't know what to do, and you're alone. You call an ambulance and a paramedic comes and helps them. You see your partner get brought back to life. You should be happy and relieved, right? But when your partner gets to the hospital, you're filled with this horrible feeling in your stomach. You bring your partner gifts and smother them in support to suppress this negative feeling. You keep pushing harder, but the feeling won't stop, and this overbearing behavior slowly pushes your partner away.
I don't love you anymore.
You see, if you were to try to explore this a bit deeper, you might identify that horrible feeling as guilt. But why? Maybe it came from the fact that you weren't able to save your partner when they were injured. You had to get help, which is completely normal, but you perceived it as a failure, that you failed your partner and couldn't protect them. Just like you couldn't protect your younger sibling that died when you were young.
Real original!
Okay, that's pretty cliche, but you see what I mean. So now we've identified some key information here. You, by which I mean the character, have a crippling need to be the protector of your romantic partner. And in failing to do so, even under completely reasonable circumstances, that leads to an unrelenting feeling of guilt. So now let's tweak some details.
You're gay.
No.
Let's say it was your fault that your partner got injured. More guilt, right? You're increasing the emotional intensity. But you see, now those feelings of guilt are kind of justified. We lose the interesting aspect that your guilt is actually some maladaptive product of your past. So we need a reset. The dead younger sibling thing is annoying me. It's too on the nose. Let's not have a direct parallel with this moment and the past. What if you were raised in a household that insisted you had to be a protector? You'd probably expect that to be pushed by the father figure, so let's say that it's the mother instead who's reinforcing this. Make it a bit more interesting. And the reason she's so adamant about this is because there is no father figure in the house, and she feels like she needs to compensate by being more masculine and instilling masculine values.
Mom, it's just a popularity contest that's like super heteronormative.
Now we have something to work with. Why don't we introduce this character to the situation? That could change things. At the hospital, the mother shows up and alludes to the fact that you failed to protect your partner. She asks where you were when it happened and what you did, already positioning it as your responsibility. How does that make you feel? Is the pressure mounting already?
What would you know about pressure?
You explain what happened and she seems confused. You ask her why, and she says she finds it difficult to imagine you standing around waiting for an ambulance while your partner was seriously injured. Again, how do you feel? Does this reinforce the feelings of failure? Moments of inaction when you should have been protecting? You immediately try to justify yourself, putting yourself in a position of weakness. How do you feel now? Just guilty, or maybe also weak and powerless? How can we further emphasize this? The mother goes into the hospital room and immediately makes comments. No flowers? She asks if you've ever been in the room. How could you not be by her side after not being able to help her when she needed you most? Now she's just slapping you in the face with it. How do you feel? Is that the breaking point? Do you admit failure? Do you justify yourself again? Maybe you go the other way and decide to fight back. Maybe you decide to wake the partner up now. But look, I'm going to stop here because I've already gone way too long, but this is an approach you can take by going through the experience of your characters, particularly ones your audience will identify most with, like the protagonist, because that's the emotional headspace your audience will be in. Sometimes I write like this. In dialogue scenes, I'm jumping back and forth, trying to see how hearing the previous line makes me feel and how I want to react based on my understanding of the character. And I'll tweak aspects of the situation to emphasize the essence of the scene. Do you see how exploring memories or putting yourself in the shoes of your characters can help you flesh out a scene? You can use this exploration and this knowledge to emphasize the specific aspects of the scene that were most important in creating the feeling that you were left with. You have to keep asking yourself, how do I feel in different parts of the scene to realize what's salient in that moment? And then you can use that to attenuate our experience of the scene. Even if this deep dive into your memories just helps you understand yourself and your behavior better, it can help you create characters that are more realistic and fleshed out. Because, for example, you'll know where your fear of rejection comes from, or what it is that hurts you most about being rejected.
I know it hurts, and I know why it hurts.
Who knows? It might even help you in your day-to-day life and relationships. But go easy with life advice from people on the internet. They're usually just as clueless as you are, if not more.
I told him to be himself. That was pretty mean, I guess.
But that's all I've got for you, so all that's left to say is get the fuck out of here and make your film.
Oh!